Okay, two different profiles, video on this, two-handed, so if I get a couple weird shots, that's probably why. Anyway, Jeremy here, Parts Breakers, Jeeps Unlimited. Lots of good inventory. We've really ramped up and really filled our 7 acres. So it's, and really going after some of this stuff that's a little bit more unique and rare. So we'll start back here. This is just kind of a run-of-the-mill CJ7. We're hoping to get a, mid-range tub out of it. It's got a little bit of rust, but not fully blown out in it. CJ7 tub, we obviously like to steer as clear away from rust as we can, but unfortunately CJs are getting so difficult to come by that, when you get something like this, and axles were on it, I had him pop them off. A buddy of mine wanted the front, so I had him go ahead and pull both of them, and we have the rear sold already. But if you need axles, I do have a few other options for those right now. Good, should get a good set of doors. Top looks decent on it, although it's got a sunroof cut into it, so that'll be heavily discounted anytime they're modified like that. And yeah, I think the tub is probably going to be a low B, but it's got carpet glued into it, so I'll have to get the Hotsie out and see how that pans out, because it likely won't show us anything until we get it pulled apart. So, but otherwise, it's got a good motor, 258, and probably, oh, this has got a T18 in it, which this one's already spoken for. But if you're looking for a T18, I do have a bolt-in option for a T18 right now. We also do rebuild T18s, and those are one of our more common items we sell. Ship those all over the world, and rebuilt ones have a lifetime warranty, so keep that in mind. And we do sell a complete bolt-in kit for them, which makes your side of it a lot easier. They did come factory option, so it's not super hard to do. It's just a matter of finding all the right pieces, components, input shafts, body, skid plates, yada yada yada. So okay, so that's the 7 there. Then we have this guy. This is, and I got pieces of this in my truck as well. This is a factory Jeep equipment hardtop for a CJ5. I've actually never had one of these. I've had calls about them, and they had Meyer tops and a few other brands, but never have I seen an actual factory Jeep equipment top. It does have the serial number on the hardtop on one of the pieces, and it bolts all together, and we can ship it, which is kind of nice. It comes apart like this, so it's in really, really good shape. It's straight. I didn't see, there's no rust on it whatsoever. It's got a set of doors with it, so we'll get this thing priced here, and I'm sure it won't last. We get calls on these all the time. Okay, this one's kind of a unique one, and we're not quite sure what it is. Obviously it's a CJ5, but it's a 74 title, and it's and when I walked up to it, I immediately was like, no, it's got to be a 76 or newer, because it's got a 20 in it. It's got a fully boxed frame. They didn't start doing that stuff until 76 on the 20, and then a few other things like the box frame didn't really happen until 77-ish, 78. You can still find a like a ladder frame on a 76, which is like half C-channel, half box. And so there's a couple things like that, but it's bizarre. I don't have all the information on it other than what I bought it with, what title and stuff says. It definitely has some 79 components on it. This thing runs and drives perfect. There's not a spot of rust on it. I bought it for the tub. It's had a little bit of body work in the corner back here. Probably had it beat in, but there's not, I mean, literally, look at this thing. So this is one of those ones that might be something we sell whole. Not really sure. The tub on it's worth a small fortune because they're that hard to get this clean. It is absolutely mint. Everything. I mean, it's got some stuff sitting inside, so it's a little hard to see, but look at this thing. All the torque pockets, the frame, excellent shape. I mean, it is absolutely spotless. And like I said, it runs and drives. And it was set up for California smog, so still got all the smog pump and everything on it. Which is awesome. That's so super hard to get. So we'll pander on this one for a little bit, figure out what we're gonna do. But it's got some military insignia on it, the dash, some of the stamping on the inside of the hood, and whatnot. So, who knows? It's a Jeep thing. Sometimes we get these oddballs. I don't get these kind of things enough. Normally I just say this is 7683 and you're good to go. But there are some quirky things about it. And who knows, maybe it's a leftover military Jeep that they were mix mashing. In those years, they were mix mashing a lot of parts, whatever they had left over. And maybe that's where this was at, on the base, and they just threw it together. Who knows? So definitely gonna put it up on YouTube and see if we get, but this one you could literally run and drive. Like I said, it runs great, shifts great. It's amazing how clean this Jeep is. So, and now we have this one up here. And just to give you a little backstory, I actually bought this one from another guy, this gray one here, from a CJ, from a guy I bought another CJ from a few months ago. And when I showed up down there, I was looking specifically for 72 to 75 CJs. They're the kind of the stepchild of the Jeeps, if you don't know that already. They're the hardest years to find tubs on, frames on. Most parts will interchange from the later ones, but those specific parts, axles, a little bit of modification required to interchange those, but otherwise pretty straightforward. But tubs are very specific to those, so that's what I was going after, and that's what this one is advertised as. And like again, this one definitely is not a, this is a later tub on it. But because I put so many feelers out there about 6 months ago, and it's, you know, sometimes it takes that long to kind of filter out and find people start coming out of the woodwork and start notifying us, hey, we have one of those Jeeps you're looking for. So that's in this case, somebody had seen when I had put the post up looking for this one, and said, hey, I got one of these down here. I think this tub's usable, and you know, would you like to come down and take a look at it? So I went down, and again, not a grade A, but definitely not a low grade either. I think this is going to be a B range, which is excellent. That's a good thing, because 72, 75 tubs can get expensive if they are grade A, which I've only had maybe one of. But I'll give you a little bit. It does have a little bit of surface, but look at this. All the torque pockets on the bottom of this thing, they're in really, really good shape. That's a major component to have to go in and repair that area. So the surface that I'm saying, even back here, I'm getting a low battery notification, okay? Even back here, where that gets blown out, the wheel wells, even this frame looks solid. So this indeed is a 72, 75. And those of you who don't know this yet or have figured this out, that way that's rode up there, sorry, my lens is a little dirty on this other camera, but is a good indication of the right era. So if you have that raised lettering that has that kind of blown out look, if you look at all the years that they did CJs, they all have their kind of unique, and I'll show you that as we go through these. So look at that one, and then this one. Now this one and this one here should be the same or close to it. So this one's got a little bit more raised because they get chrome on it, but otherwise it's the same. Cool, so that's gonna be a good find, and I have 2 people lined up. I'm sure this one won't last before I get home with it, especially, like I said, as clean as this one is. And we'll get it pulled, the carpet pulled out of it. It doesn't look like it's glued or anything, and hit it with the Hotsie and make sure. The floors are where the surface rust is, but one thing I want to note real quick is it's definitely surface, and it's got some scaling. Don't get me wrong. I'll show you that when I get it down later. I'll be home in about 5 hours, but what you can see down here is a good indication of just how substantial those floors really are. You know, the damage that I've seen up top isn't all the way through, and normally they bleed through pretty quick when they go. So we'll pull the diamond plating. That obviously could be holding something back, although this is probably more aesthetic is why they did that. Does have a tailgate. That's another really rare thing on these. There's not necessarily rare, but they just are getting harder to find tailgate versions of them. I get a lot more non-tailgate CJ5 tubs in. So we got a nice AMC 20, which this one is spoken for, but I do have a few of these left, narrow track. And then of course we got that bad boy there, and that's going to be a brand new, basically rebuilt 241 241 HD, so like out of a Rubicon, TJ LJ Rubicon. It was shipped, and it was dropped by FedEx. That's why it's got a new case half on it. I had to send it off to a builder that we use. Actually, the same guy does our T18s, and they went through it top to bottom, went ahead and refurbished it, rebuilt it, and then put a new case half on it. I'll show you that over here. I do notice the fill plugs are out, so I'll have to have some of those. I think they're probably at a shop still. But yeah, otherwise it's brand spanking new, good to go. So questions, comments, let me know. This is one of the first videos I put up in a while. This is our new rig trailer I've had for a while. This is our Bigfoot rig. So if you see this driving down the road, you know we're out there hunting for something. Anyway, I appreciate everything and have a great day.